Why Jungkook lets Taehyung do anything he wants. Jungkook never gets mad at him. Jungkook can't say no to Taehyung. Without any announcement, without any warning, this moment quietly shook the global scene. Welcome to V Effect. It's been observed on many occasions that, because Jungkook has always been in favor of letting Taehyung do whatever he wants, you'd never see him react harshly to anything Taehyung wants or says without any ill intent. Taehyung's mere presence, even when he's doing things that others might find intrusive, doesn't bother Jungkook at all, as long as Taehyung is happy to do whatever he wants. Now, when Jungkook was distracted singing part of the song Boy With Love, and the other members were taking a break after the concert, Taehyung was quite amused, playfully hitting Jungkook's chest. Without receiving any negative comment, without waiting for Jungkook to react, he simply let Taehyung be entertained in that way and didn't find the courage to say or do anything other than remain still so that he could continue what he was doing. Even during the recording of the Dynamite performance for Jimmy Fallon's show, when Jungkook was about to get some more ice cream and Taehyung approached from behind without waiting for Jungkook to finish filling the cone, it was extremely cute how Jungkook didn't even make an effort to protest the theft that Taehyung was committing against him. When he reached out his hand to Jungkook understood what he wanted, and even let him go with the ice cream that was originally meant for himself. And contrary to what other people might think, as soon as Taehyung walked away eating the ice cream that Jungkook had made and stolen, Jungkook simply looked at the ice cream for a moment and then laughed with the most sincere and beautiful smile that could come from his lips. There was no way that Taehyung's action would make him angry. He was sure that he would end up doing what he wanted and wouldn't find any feeling of anger or playfulness to claim something that was meant to be in Taehyung's hands. And just with that thought, he ended up giving in to him and taking another cone without any problem, not finding the situation annoying and, on the contrary, being happy that Taehyung took his hand in his ice cream. I think it's pretty obvious that Jungkook enjoys it, even if he doesn't say it in words. There are times when Taehyung might be pinching his cheeks and Jungkook wouldn't do anything to defend himself or say anything. Knowing how he reacts when the other members make a gesture towards him, and Jungkook finds ways to take it as a game to push them away or dodge their hands. We can always see how in Taehyung's case, that behavior is almost non-existent. There's no way for him to defend himself, and there's no way that at any point he could find Taehyung's behavior annoying, if he can have him there. In fact, when BTS recorded Butter for Stephen Colbert's show Behind the Scenes, it was quite funny how Taehyung came up behind Jungkook and playfully pushed him out of frame. Jungkook didn't complain about it. In fact, I'd say he wasn't even expecting it. But the little whimper he let out when he was out of frame, and Taehyung took the opportunity to say something himself, let me know it wasn't a complaint at all. He simply let Taehyung take over the shot and speak instead. Again, being so forgiving when it came to Taehyung and whatever he wanted to do, this was the best example that nothing could make him angry. Because when they gave an interview to Vogue and were asked about their hobbies, even though Namjoon was the one mentioning various hobbies like sleeping and playing video games, Taehyung simply got distracted by messing up Jungkook's hair when he tried to play with him. Jungkook didn't seem to do or say anything. The camera simply changed angle, and that interaction was no longer visible. But when the camera returned to everyone, while Jungkook was saying that he usually drew and cooked for himself, Taehyung started playing with his earrings, literally sticking his pinky finger into a hoop and fiddling with them. Jungkook couldn't have cared less. He was too used to it to pull away and comfortable enough not to say anything more. If Taehyung continued playing like that, it was because Jungkook never said anything to him. On the contrary, he just smiled when answering the other members' questions, as relaxed as Taehyung's mere act of doing whatever he wanted could bring. Because later, when Taehyung hit Jungkook with the balloon during a recording, Jungkook simply accepted it as if it were nothing. Probably if it had been someone else, Jungkook would have already challenged him and thrown the balloon back. But it was Taehyung, and Jungkook wasn't going to do anything about it if it made him happy, as resigned as only that half-smile could convey. He was so used to letting Taehyung do whatever he wanted, even when he pretended to do wrestling holds and he didn't do anything to defend himself even though it was just a game. He let Taehyung have fun at his expense because it was more fun that way, and he wasn't going to replace something like that with having such a chaotic Taehyung by his side. In fact, when Taehyung pretended to box on Jungkook's shoulder, and Jungkook did nothing but stand still so Taehyung could continue his antics, it was funny how he kept letting Taehyung do whatever he wanted, even letting Taehyung box closer. Jungkook half smiled, but he was so at ease with Taehyung's actions that he could only look at him for a moment and not get angry about anything that was happening. Someone could have simply taken the gauntlet and gotten revenge. Jungkook could have done so in either case, but he preferred to indulge Taehyung like that and do nothing about it. Why would he? Taehyung was all over him, entertaining and quite relaxed. Jungkook couldn't ask for anything more than that, because when Jungkook was doing planks and needed to concentrate, he couldn't even get angry because Taehyung interrupted him by sitting on top of him, making the position even harder. And while many might find it annoying, Jungkook even chuckled when Taehyung finished sitting on his back and told him he should join in, but ended up doing a plank on Jungkook's back by literally lying on him. It was pretty clear that even that wouldn't make Jungkook seriously angry. He even laughed when Taehyung pressed himself all the way up to him, saying he couldn't do it but unable to stop himself from laughing because the situation somehow seemed funny to him. And the fact that Taehyung did what he wanted once again proved for the 1000th time that Jungkook would play along no matter what. Taehyung could literally play with Jungkook's hair, and Jungkook wouldn't do anything to stop him, even if it resulted in a tangled mess that would likely be difficult to comb. He wouldn't go against whatever Taehyung wanted to do, whenever he wanted to do it. He could even let his intrusive thoughts take over, and Jungkook wouldn't be bothered by that either. He would continue with what he was doing and let Taehyung do whatever he wanted. And he would be impulsive enough to go and playfully hit him during a performance, and Jungkook wouldn't take it as something to get angry about, since Taehyung would definitely end up doing whatever he wanted knowing that Jungkook would never get mad at him. Because it's funny to see him tease him with gentle taps to get his attention, and he'd only get an expression that it was as common as breathing. It's been so obvious that Jungkook even let Taehyung have his fun when he wanted to box on his abs, and he got to because Jungkook let him. And even if that hadn't happened, Taehyung probably would have ended up boxing with the sight of Jungkook's abs anyway. Because ever since the live stream where Taehyung watched Jungkook maintain a strange posture while Hobie and Jin talk beside him, the thought that Jungkook should be sitting properly, and that he was going to correct it ended up making Taehyung give him a gentle tap on the leg, getting close enough so only Jungkook could hear his scolding, and then with a little more force removing the leg that Jungkook was crossing over his other one. Contrary to what many might think, when Taehyung grabbed his arm and got frustrated because Jungkook was pretending not to notice that Taehyung was playfully scolding him, Taehyung started playfully hitting him despite the live stream they were doing. Hobie tried to stop him, but Jungkook was just laughing at Taehyung's actions, doing what he wanted and letting him continue attacking him in such a cute way. His smile simply said it all. Taehyung only stopped because Hobie told him to, not because Jungkook wanted to defend himself from what Taehyung was doing. And far from getting angry about the interruption, Jungkook continued to maintain that expression of being very happy with the situation, finding it very amusing that Taehyung had made him happy, and gently hitting his arm because it had definitely been quite random for them. And they were simply happy, understanding a dynamic that not everyone could grasp, but which truly made them happy because of their complicity, and how much Jungkook enjoyed letting Taehyung always do whatever he wanted. Because there are people you allow things to happen to that you wouldn't allow anyone else, and when you see Jungkook and Taehyung, it's clear that they occupy that exclusive space just for each other.